Hey everyone, Bo Watson here, and today I'm going to show you how to hit your driver longer, straighter, and less out of bounds. If that sounds like something you're interested in, stay tuned. I'm going to show you the tips that you need and how you can immediately start applying these into your game. Okay, so how do we hit the ball farther, straighter, and less out of bounds? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today with the three big things. One, the sweet spot importance, the setup, and then also how do we go about with the swing planes and the different ways to control that face angle through the impact zone. So you're definitely going to want to stick around for the end to that piece because that's going to make all this gel together. And before we get into it, I just want to say thanks so much, Dennis, for commenting in the previous video that we launched. And you requested that we do a video on this, and that brings us to the point. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button and that bell button. We love to hear feedback from you guys, and if you like a topic that you want us to cover, submit that below this video and we'll get around to doing just that. And with that said, let's jump right in. So the first thing that you've got to be able to control is your sweet spot, and that's where the ball makes contact with your face angle of the driver. And you've probably seen a lot of videos on this out there where they talk about the importance of the sweet spot. Well, I can't overstate that enough, because just a quarter inch off the face angle at the sweet spot, it results in about 10% loss in your power of your potential. That's a huge power loss, guys. If you just look at 250 yards of your potential and 10% off, that's 25 yards loss right there. And even further off the face can result in even more distance loss. So that's really, really important. Make sure that you're using either the spray-on thing that covers the face angle. You could even use like chapstick. You probably could even use like the stuff that you use like put on your hands if you're shooting pool, and you can probably rub that on the face angle. Whatever you got to do to see where is that ball making contact is going to be very helpful to kind of get an idea and gauge what's happening in the swing. And that brings up the point, when you are hitting shots, it's really important to film yourself face on and down the line. So the camera angle that I have set up right now is being shot right at my chest, so that way you can see directly face on where I'm at in the center of the screen. Okay, so this is really important for you to do that for yourself, so that way you can check and see all the different things I'm going to be covering in this video. So right away, get some things that will control and mark where your face angle is being hit, and then once you do that and you can kind of get a gauge on where you're hitting your shots, let's jump right into the next piece, which is going to be understanding why behind it. Okay, so some of the reasons why we hit or have mishits on the face is due to a few things. One, it could be the setup. Two, it could be your swing plane, and then three, it could be a result in what is your body doing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover real quick is your setup. One thing that you have to understand right away is whenever you're swinging a club, it's swung on an angled plane. So as I set this club at an angle here, we know that this club is designed to be swung around my body. Why? Because it's set at an angle. It's not designed to be swung up and down like a Ferris wheel, and it's not flat like we're swinging on a baseball plane. Okay, so it's set at an angle, which leads to the point whenever we're addressing the ball, the first thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is we're establishing what we call this radius of the left arm and club first. Why is that important? Well, if this distance between you and the ball is different, so if this is my first setup and I hit a shot, and then let's say I could bring another ball in and I don't move my feet and I set up the next time, what's happening? I'm shortening my distance between my left shoulder and the ball, and I have no room here. And then I could be doing another one where next time I set up, I'm way out here reaching. All right, and so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're establishing that setup correctly every single time. Think of it like a pilot in a cockpit. We're hitting that button, and it's the last thing we want to think about whenever we're taking off, right? So we got a preset checklist, and it's one of those things, once we touch it, we don't have to think about it again. So we want to make sure that we can control this thing that we can control, we can eliminate right away because we know we got it set up correctly. So whenever we're setting up, the first thing that you want to do is set the left arm and club first, then your body. Okay, notice what I did here. I set the club first. My feet are not set up yet. I'm setting the club first at the angle that it's designed to be set upon, not way down here, not way up here. I'm setting the club first, then my body. Okay, very, very important in that order, because what happens is whenever you set your feet first and then you drop the club, that goes back to what we just covered where you got different ball placements here. Okay, now why is this important? Well, the club is swung on an angle plane. It's on a circle, okay? So this radius is a controlled angle, and once we set this first, this is going to really increase the percentage of you hitting that sweet spot on a more consistent basis, okay? So that's number one. That's the setup. Now, the two is the swing plane, okay? If we are finding whenever you're filming yourself face on down the line, and more importantly from the down the line view, and we'll switch to that here in a minute, but if my swing plane is coming from an out to in motion, okay, then chances are I'm probably going to be hitting it on the heel or probably even on the toe, okay, and that's going to be the reason why I do that. And this is why it's important for you to film this so you can get immediate feedback on what's actually happening, and the vice versa. Let's say I have a path that's coming away from the inside, I'm getting stuck, and I'm hitting it outward. Well, a lot of times when you have a in-to-out path, you'll tend to find that you have a lot of toe shots, okay? So this right here, when you film down the line, you can pick up those things on what's happening in the downswing to the impact zone, okay? That's number two with the swing plane. Number three is what we do with a body, okay? And this is where I'm going to switch over real quick and show you real fast what a good tour player does in his transition on a downswing.
Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is the down the line view. So whenever you're filming yourself down the line, you want your camera placed at right about the right forearm. So as you can notice in this view here, his right forearm is pretty much dead center in this camera view. So this is in relation to his target line that's going along his baseline of his feet and the target out here. So this is really important because this is going to help you to start identifying where things are going wrong, which will have a direct influence on your ball's impact location. Okay, so as we take this club back, you'll see that the club travels up, goes right up the right forearm plane, goes right into the mid bicep plane, and then top of the swing, and then right here is where I want to pause, because this is what we consider position 5 in the Morad school of thought. Now, left arm right here, as you can see in relation to his feet line, it is inward at about 20 to 30 degrees. Okay, really, really important, because this right here is going to start showing signs of if you're going to be coming down the right plane or if not. And then when you shift down to right about here, where it's about position 6, where the club is about parallel to the ground. And one of the things that's really good about understanding where you are here is because if you get this club too far in, way back here behind the right forearm, if we back up just a split second here, you can see how the club is starting to travel right down through the mid bicep. But if this club's way back here underneath, then this is a position where you're going to get stuck and you're going to hit these big pushes. Think Tiger back in the Haney era, where he used to struggle with the big pushes and the snap hooks. And then if this club is coming from the outside, coming down through the baseline of your neck, or even on the outside of your head, then this is the over-the-top slice motion. So understanding your plane is very, very important to determining what kind of shot that you're going to hit. So a great swing plane would be one that you're in between the shoulders and the elbow plane, and then you're exiting on the shoulder or in between the elbow plane. And as you'll see here, he's going to go from the mid bicep, going to exit just at the shoulder, and more than likely you probably hit a draw here on this shot. Now let's go look at a face-on view. So face-on view, you want this to be pointed straight at your chest. So this is pretty much positioned right at chest level, and you want to be in the center of the screen. You don't want to be over here. You don't want to be over here. And this will help you to identify everything that you're looking for in the swing. So as we take the club back, he does a really good job lining up. And the two big things I want you to really pay attention to is notice if we were to make a line right here, okay, with his left leg and the knee, pay attention to where he's at just barely left of the L here. Watch the transition that he has. So you can see right there, he has moved a good 3 to 4 inches, and he's not even at the ball yet. So the transition is very, very important in your driver swing in order for, number one, to keep this club on plane coming down, and you're not using just all shoulders and arms, which will throw the club outside. So the hips moving forward will allow this club to come from the inside. And one of the best ways to see that and know if you're coming inside from this viewpoint is to see, when we back up just a split second, you can see the right elbow coming underneath the left arm. Sometimes you got to be careful here, especially at this height, is you can get this to where it's showing too much and you could be way inside. So this would be a really good spot for him, just barely underneath, so it shows that he's coming in on plane. And then once he gets the impact, you can clearly see the left leg is straightening, his weight shift has already happened, and then the arms and hands are allowed to fire in. So this is really good for you guys to see this, especially in the transition. Let's go ahead and jump right into the next part and show you how you guys can start putting this in application.
Okay, so now that you've seen a tour player showing a transition from the downswing, down the line, and also face on, you saw the importance of that weight shift. So let's go ahead and jump in and showing you a few things of what you can do to go ahead and start helping you get that straighter, longer ball flight. So first thing that you want to do is, like we talked about before, is we want to set that club or this radius first. So what we're doing is we're setting the radius first. One of the things I love to do is to hover it, and then we're using our feet. Now, you can do a couple things. This is something that Jack Nicklaus was famous for doing, was hovering the driver just behind the ball and starting his swing from here. But what I encourage you to do, if you don't like hover it first and then drop it down. And as you can see from the down the line view, that ball is appearing out toward the end of my toe. But the reality is we're not hitting the ball off the ground, we're hitting it off the tee. So when I hover it back up here, right now, I'm right where I need to be here, okay? So that's number one. Number two is, one of the things that we're trying to do, especially with the swing plane, is paying attention where are we at in the top of the backswing and then coming down, okay? So one of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing at address is setting up for a little bit of a tilt to your backside. And what I mean by that, so weight percentage is going to be about 45% left, 55% right. We're almost going to be stacked, but we're going to have a little bit of a tilt back to our back foot. What I would encourage you to do is use about a 5 to 10 degree tilt. So what we're trying to do is we're hitting this club, or hitting the ball upward on their angle of attack. We do not want a downward angle of attack like we would for an iron. We want to make sure that we're hitting up on the ball, because that allows us to get the spin rate that we want it to be, which brings up the next piece. What should be your tee height? One of the best tee heights that you're looking for is when that ball's equator is in line, okay? Let me use this other ball real quick. So if I put this line right here in the middle of the ball, and I bring up my driver, the top line of the face is just barely in line or just barely below that ball. Because what we want to do is we want to hit that shot just in the upper center of our face, which studies have shown to be the most optimal for spin launch conditions, okay? And that's what we're looking for at setup. So right away, what we're looking for is, number one, setting the radius first. Number two, we're hovering it right behind the ball. 3, we're getting our weight to be about 45 on the front, 55 on the back, 5 to 10 degree tilt, and then we're taking our best swing here. And that's how you would hit your driver. Okay, so the next thing I really want to show you real quick is how to get the angle of attack properly. So this is a really cool drill where you want to take a tee and you're going to place it in front of the other tee on your target line, almost a full driver length, okay? If you're really measuring it, it's probably about 4 inches here. So you're going to tee up the first ball in the first tee. You're going to have that second tee there. Take your normal setup. Remember setting the radius first. Once you get your setup here, then go ahead and take your swing, and the objective is to miss that tee in front of it. And as you can see, I missed the next tee in front, which means I got my angle of attack where it needed to be. We're starting to hit up on the ball. And if I had taken that tee out, that means that the club is still traveling downward. And you'll be able to see that on camera. And if you're not using a camera to show face on, then you'll definitely see it when that tee comes out of the ground. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button and that bell button. That'll keep you up to date on all the new content that we're going to be adding over the next few weeks. And guys, we'd love to hear feedback from you. Just like Dennis, who posted a question, wanting to see this driver video. And if you see a topic you want us to cover, please post that below in the comments and we'll definitely get to that. We're trying to grow this channel. And more importantly, our goal, guys, is to help as many golfers as we possibly can to shoot their new lifetime below round. We've really taken that to heart. That's our journey, and we hope that you'll come alongside us and join us on this journey to help 100,000 golfers to do just that. So with that said, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll look forward to talking to you guys soon.